Hello and welcome to XVA Bibles. My name is Ethan. So really recently, as you know, if you are a subscriber, I finished my How to Rebind a Bible from Start to Finish series. That ended up being 10 or 11 parts and was really an enjoyable thing to do. But it took a lot of work, and it took kind of my entire channel for really the past like 4 or 5 months. It was my focus kind of creatively when it comes to YouTube. So I wanted to exit that series and kind of do something a little bit new here. So I'm going to talk today about the things that I carry on a daily basis, daily carry, you could say. And I have been thinking about this video for a long time, and frankly, I have been a little bit reluctant to talk about it, not because I'm weird about sharing about what I carry every day or anything like that, but it's just there's so much in the EDC or like the daily carry ecosystem, you could say, that in my mind is just so kind of vain and performative that I was kind of reluctant to share what I carry on a daily basis, just because I didn't want to be lumped in with all of the cringe, all of the cringe out there. But I'm going to do it. And this is what I carry every day. And this is everything I carry every day, nothing that I don't carry. So I'm not going to like add in anything here. I'm not going to talk about anything that I don't actually use on a daily basis or like an every week basis, let's say. So this is just transparently me, nothing performative about this at all. So here we have obviously knives and flashlights and watches and a watch. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about kind of the classical EDC stuff that I carry every day, and go into kind of some of the niche stuff that I carry every day, or every week. So I will say, like, of these items here, the things that I carry least are flashlights. So this is an Olight, an older Olight baton. It's the S1A baton. I carried flashlights for a really long time, and I eventually just kind of started phasing them out, but I've recently been phasing them back in to what I carry every day. And really, I've come into the habit of just carrying them in the fall and in the winter. Really, the reason being is that I have really young kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I'm about to have a newborn here really, really soon. And I'm really not, during the summer and during the spring and even during the early fall, I'm not usually out and about during dark hours. So, carrying a flashlight is definitely an extra thing. My phone has a flashlight on it, so I really only carry a flashlight if I'm out and about predominantly during dark hours. So I was kind of tentative to include flashlights in my things I carry video, but I'm going to anyway. So I really like this S1A baton. This flashlight is actually out of production, but you might be able to find them on eBay. What I really like about this flashlight is that it can carry these, it can be run by these, I think these are 5160. So these are almost the exact same size as a AA. They're just a little bit bigger, and they have a bigger wattage output. And what that enables you to do is use really high wattage turbo, really high lumen, use them in really high lumen flashlights like this one. But also this flashlight in a pinch I can throw a AA in here and it'll still work. So I really like the versatility of this light. It doesn't have the highest lumen output out there. It doesn't have the same output as like some of the newer Olights that are out there, but I really like the versatility of this light. And this light here is really similar. So this is a Workos HD10, and you can see here it's a right angle flashlight. And what I really like about this one is that it takes the same battery as my S1A baton. Obviously, this is just a Workos branded battery here. So the identifier for these AA sized high output rechargeable batteries is 1450. So I really like this Workos here just because just because it's a right angle flashlight, just the fact that I can, actuate it and set it on something while it's on is just very convenient for me. I also like the fact that it's a right angle, because when you put a clip on it like this, you can actually grip the clip like this in your teeth. I've done that a lot when I'm doing projects around the house. I can just kind of like clamp this in my teeth, and I can essentially have like a headlamp type situation going with this. So I really like this Workos HD10, and it's really similar size as the Olight S1A baton. So when I do carry a flashlight in the winter, these are the two that I carry. So, and I actually do carry these a lot. So, next thing I wanted to cover is pocket knives. So in some of my unboxings, you've seen that I really like Spyderco pocket knives. I've unboxed with my Sage, and I've also unboxed with my Spyderco Polestar as well. So I really like Spyderco knives. I've liked Spyderco, so I'm in my 30s, and I've liked Spyderco knives since I was 16, and I've been buying them ever since. I think my first Spyderco was a Endura, one of the Saber Ground Enduras in VG10. I bought multiple Enduras. I used to have a G10 Manix. I've had Delicas. I have a Polestar, and I have these two as well. I've gone through a lot of Spydercos in my day, and they're just great knives for the price. And Spyderco is a brand. They really focus on ergonomics and blade steel. That's kind of their focus as a company. Just realized my glue bottle was uncapped. Spyderco really, as a company, focuses on blade steel and ergonomics, and those two are probably my priorities in terms of like what knives to buy. I could care less about, if my knife had, carbon fiber handles or, titanium handles or anything like that. I really just care about ergonomics and blade steel primarily, and price is a big factor too. So with Spyderco knives, you have a really high bang for your buck situation there. And these knives here are no secret. I really like Spyderco's FRN handles. These both have kind of fiber reinforced polymer, I think is what it's called. And it's essentially like an injected molded plastic that's really dense, similar to like what Glock handguns are made out of. And they're just really dense, really durable, and really lightweight. So the Enduras and Delicas that I've had in the past, those had, the injected molded plastic handles, and I really liked them. They're not sexy, but they are very functional. So these two here are the knives that I carry the most by a long shot. So I recently got this one here. This is a Manix 2 in 15V. And I love this blade, but I don't think it quite outclasses the Sage 5 lightweight in my opinion. So this Sage 5 lightweight is about $130, $140, depending on where you get it from. It has S30V blade steel in it, which is just a staple in the knife community. And it's probably my favorite steel. I've been using 15V for several months now, and I would say 15V is great. I would say the edge retention on it is probably a little bit better than S30V, but I really just like the super keen edge that S30V gets when you strop it. I've been able to get much sharper, much keener edges with my, I have a Work Sharp, much keener edges on S30V in my experience. And that might be because my Manix 2 lightweight here in 15V, and it might be because the edge is burned from the factory. I've only sharpened my 15V Manix probably 3 times in a serious fashion so far. So it might be because I'm still working through kind of that factory, maybe damaged edge from their belt sanding. But I've had this Sage 5 here for probably 3 or 4 years, and it has by far been just such a good performer. really good ergonomics and really good blade size. I really this knife in my mind is probably Spyderco's best EDC knife that they make. I don't have a pair of two, or sorry, a pair of three, but I really think they're kind of ugly. So that's kind of been the big reason why I went with the Sage 5 instead of the pair of three. So this knife is just so great, so smooth. So yeah, these are my two most commonly carried knives, and I got this Manix 2 here recently for my birthday actually, and it's kind of like a big Sage 5. That's kind of how I see it. They both feel really similar in your hands. Like they both have, the forward finger choils, the leaf-shaped blades. So I really like both of these. So yeah. So those are what knives I carry most. So we can talk a little bit about watches here. I'm not a big watch snob or a big watch guy, but these two watches are the ones that I carry most. So this is an Alpina. The model is called a Star Timer. And it's an automatic watch with a date function here. Stainless steel case with I think it's 100 meters of water resistance, sapphire crystal. This by far is the watch that I wear probably 95% of the time. When I'm at work, in the office, I wear this watch. When I am around the house, I wear this watch. When I'm out and about doing errands, I wear this watch. When I go surfing or when I go to the beach, I wear this watch. For a while, I was just rocking this Casio Duro here. And the Casio Duro is just a great watch for the money. But one of the things that I thought was really annoying was this watch is kind of supposed to be like a budget dive watch. And because of the rotating bezel here, just because of the rotating bezel and the lack, I would say like lack of tolerances, it's really easy to get sand underneath this bezel here. And I got sand underneath this bezel. So it's like gritty now, which is kind of annoying. I tried to remove the bezel maybe last year, I think, and I wasn't able to do it. So I put this stainless steel band on my Duro, and this is kind of like my church watch. Even though it's like not as nice as my Alpina, I just like the look of the stainless steel band. So when if I'm wearing a suit at a wedding or at a funeral or something like that, I'll pull out my Casio Duro with the Pepsi bezel and the stainless steel bracelet and use that. But 90% of the time I'm wearing my Alpina just because it's really minimal. It's lightweight. It's smaller than my Duro. It's also not as tall as my Duro as well. So with this aftermarket, just really cheap rubber strap on my Alpina, this really just disappears on my wrist. So that's why it's just really functional, and I forget that I have it on me. So until I obviously need to check the time. So my Alpina is with me probably 90% of the time. So let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about stationary items here. So as you know, if you've been following my channel for a while, I am really into stationary fountain pens, obviously Bibles and stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and start talking about. All right. So this is going to be kind of a combined, like what I carry to work and what I carry to church, or what I carry to discipleship meetings and stuff like that. So as far as Bibles go, there's kind of like two pathways that I take when it comes to how to decide what Bibles to take to church. I will either take a smallish Bible and my journal, or just a wide margin Bible. Obviously why I would do that is kind of, it's pretty intuitive. I want to be able to take notes during the sermon or during the teaching that I'm listening to. And, if I'm trying to rush out the door really fast, like if we're late or whatever, I'll usually just grab my wide margin Bible and a pencil, instead of trying to figure out like which personal size Bible I want to bring, which I only take one notebook, but like which pen I want to bring, whether I want to bring a pencil or a fountain pen or a ballpoint pen, etc. So if I'm like rushing out of the door, I will just grab my wide margin Bible and a pencil. One of them, I have a few, but more often than not, I have a little bit of time to think about it, and I will take a personal sized Bible, a notebook, and a pen, usually a fountain pen. So you guys have seen these Bibles here on my channel. This is my NASB Diadem in Amazonia cowhide. This is a very frequent Bible that I take to church just because it's so trim and easy to just grab and go. So this is the Cambridge Diadem, and this is definitely on my church rotation and one that I carry a lot. So that's that. Next one here, I don't think I've shown this one on my channel yet. This is my personal 3005 that I rebound recently in Mocha, Missouri, and really like how it turned out. I've showed this on my Instagram a bunch of times, and this has been a church carry of mine here recently. I did the extra tooling around the hubs and then a yap tool line around the edge. Generous yap, not full yap. I would say it's probably 1/4 of an inch shy of full yap, but I'm really just kind of getting really deep into 2-column, center column reference Bibles. That's kind of been I like the classic look of, a 2-column center column reference. And that's kind of been my bread and butter here for really the past year. It's been what I'm just like really sinking into. So yeah, this is my personal 3005 that I did recently. And talking about the leather here, I mean, this is probably the prettiest piece of La Perla Azura, Missouri that I've seen in Mocha. So in the front, you have like the really graininess, like the high graininess that is common with this leather, with some striations here, you can see. And then on the back, it like kind of progresses into a smooth section right here, which is just really cool. So really glad that this scrap of leather was big enough for this Bible. So those are the 2 personal size Bibles that I carry most often, my Diadem and my 3005. So talking about journals, I really like these journals from Nanami Paper. I'll try to remember to put a link for them in the description. And these are the journals that I use most often. These are B6 slim size with a 3.7 millimeter grid on them. They use Tomoe River paper in them, so they're really good for fountain pens. And I have 2 here. This is going to be so nerdy, but I really like using analog journaling in my personal time. So this is my book review journal that I've created. I write out book reviews with my fountain pen analog. I also track like the genres that I read every year and the books that I read every year. I set goals for myself for reading fiction, and this is where I track all of that. So I'm often carrying this to the office. I might do some journaling about a book that I'm reading during my lunch hour or something like that. So I carry, this one is like my main journal where I do, actual writing about my day, notes from sermons, etc. And, it has a nice leather cover that I made here. This is Cognac Badalassi Carlo Waxy, and it's really aged. I've been using this for about a year, and you can see here it's like really darkened, gotten some good scratches on it. I've obviously, speckled the edge of both of these for speckling practice when I was learning how to do that. So these are the journals that I carry most. I love the size of, a personal Bible and one of these B6 slim notebooks. It's just a great size, just a great little package. So talk a little bit about pens here too, pens and pencils. So for a little while, I was really getting into Japanese wooden pencils. So for a while, I was really getting into Japanese wooden pencils, and that was kind of a phase for me. I got a lot of the different really popular ones, and I still keep them around my desk and use them for rebinding, for marking paper, and stuff like that. But I don't use them quite as much. But when I did use them, my favorites were definitely these Mitsubishi Hi-Uni pencils in B hardness. Just really, really great pencils. They're meant for drawing, but they're obviously great for writing as well. But I eventually kind of phased those out because they were kind of cumbersome. Because, if I'm going out somewhere and I wanted to, rock, some Japanese wood pencils, I would need multiple and an eraser. So it ended up being just kind of too cumbersome for me to maintain long term. So I've been doing mechanical pencils for a while, just because of that. So these are the 3 pencils that I use most often. This is a Graphlit, Pentel Graphlit PG503. It's a 0.3 millimeter pencil. I use Pentel 2B lead in this, and it's what I use for wide margin Bibling or wide margin Bible note taking. The next one I use most often, this is a great pencil for the price, just super cheap. Pentel P205. I take the clips off of them because I from habits using Japanese wooden pencils, I rotate the pencil in my hand as I write to make sure I get like a consistent edge on the graphite. So I found that the clip just kind of got in the way. So I even keep a bunch around my rebinding desk. They end up getting speckled. But I use these a lot for my personal time, journaling, Bible note taking, as well as, marking around the shop, my shop. So the other pencil that I really like using, this is a Kuru Toga pencil. And this is kind of like the most over-engineered pencil in existence, which is a bold claim, but it's true. So with a Kuru Toga pencil, when you press down on the paper, there's a little mechanism inside that will rotate the lead as you write. So you always have a consistent edge or like point on the graphite. So it's a really, really consistent writing experience. Like you don't have to do the whole rotating the pencil thing to work your graphite all the way around. This pencil does it for you. And I've liked Kuru Toga pencils for a long time, but I haven't found one that I really, really like until this one. So this one is made out of aluminum or stainless steel. I'll put in a listing for it, but it's really durable feeling, really high quality feeling. And it has this really fine machine texture. I mean, obviously there's the machine texture right here, but it actually has this kind of machine texture all the way up the barrel of the pencil. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic tool to write with. So these are the 3 pencils that I use most often. And in terms of fountain pens, I like a lot of different ones. I have several. My niche that I've gotten really into, my bread and butter, you could say, is our Pilot 14 karat gold nibbed pens. So I have 3. Two are here. I have a Pilot Custom Heritage 912 as well. But these are the 2 that I use most often. And this is a Pilot Custom 823, and it is a very, very premium pen. A lot of people say like this fountain pen is like their grail pen, like the one that they've always been wanting to get. And this one, I have a fine nib in this one, and it's just a fantastic writer. Fantastic writer. It's a vac filler. So the way you fill this is not by, a syringe or anything like that. You actuate a vacuum mechanism and it sucks ink into the tank or the reservoir. So really like the 823. It's what I use the most. I have gone through a bunch of different inks in this pen. I've rotated a bunch through, and the one I really like the most in this pen is Sailor Black, just their standard black ink. It is very well lubricated, has a great flow, great dark color, and it's just a fantastic ink. So Sailor Black, I put in this. And this right here is another Pilot 14 karat gold fountain pen. This is the Pilot Custom 742 in a fine nib. Both of these are in Japanese fine nibs, which, if you know fountain pens, Japanese fine nibs are very, very fine. So this is like, if you were to get an American-made fountain pen, this would be like an extra fine, I would say. And I really like the 742. If I was to like lose my entire fountain pen collection in a fire, and I needed to restart my collection, the 742 would be like the one that I would get first, or maybe only. It's like the most replaceable, not the most replaceable, but it's like the perfect fountain pen for me. It's the perfect size, the grip, the section is the perfect size, the length, the weight, everything about this pen is just the perfect size and fit for me. I like it better than the 912. The 912 is a great pen, but I think the fact that it has like the rounded ends, the 742, just makes it feel a little bit longer in my hand, and I end up just using it a little bit more. So I really like the 742. It's probably my favorite fountain pen. Maybe I like it better than the 912. I'm not sure, but in this I rock Pilot Blue ink, just their standard blue. I like standard inks. I don't like super niche colors. I don't really do that much. I have a few, like I have a really nice rich dark green that I use a lot. I have like a dark turquoise that I use a lot, but I found that, I've kind of gone full circle with my fountain pen use. I used to like having a lot of pens, a lot of ink, and like working through all of them, rotating through, using multiple every day, that type of thing. And what I've ended up doing is just super simplifying my collection, trimming everything down. I only have 4 fountain pens, and for someone who is really into fountain pens like I am, that's not that many. And I really only use like 4 inks regularly. So yeah, I've become much more minimal with how I use fountain pens. And I've decided to kind of prioritize really high value, high quality, more expensive pens instead of just getting 30 that are, in the $30 to $50 range and that type of thing. So I'd rather invest, this pen new is upward like over $200. I didn't pay that. I got it in a trade. This one is like in the $150 to $200 range. I'd rather have these and just know that I'm getting probably the best fountain pen, in my opinion, than kind of compromise and say like, I'm just going to get a bunch of $30 pens. I've kind of come full circle, and I've kind of like reprioritized my fountain pen collecting and my fountain pen using to just really appreciate like the legendary quality and value of a Pilot, essentially. So that's my fountain pen philosophy. If you want videos on like cheap fountain pens that I would recommend buying, I do have one cheap fountain pen. I have a what is it called? It's an Asvine V126. It's kind of like a copy of an homage, you could say, of the 823. So that's a great pen. I use that a lot. But it's not, I don't have like a deep affection for it like I do my 823 and my 742. So I think that covers it. That's what I carry every day, what I use every day. I don't carry a firearm. I did for a long time, and I just have kind of phased that out. I might start concealed carrying more. I can do that legally in my state. So I might do that more in the future. I don't know. but I'm not going to be like pressured to do something that I don't want to do. I am very resistant to pressure, saying like, oh, like to be a real EDC guy, like you need to carry a flashlight, you need to carry a multi-tool, like you need to carry like a hanky, like with a cool pattern on it. Like that's not my style, and I'm not gonna bow to like some community's pressure and expectations for things that I should do to like get their legitimacy. That's not my style. That's very like not cool in my opinion. That's not how I react. So that's not my philosophy. These are the things that I actually carry. I actually carry fountain pens every day. I actually carry a journal and a really nice rebind that I've done, almost every day when I go to church or do discipleship or something like that. I really carry my Spyderco knives every day. I really, wear my Alpina every day or my Casio. So these are the things I carry, none of the things I don't. And I'm not going to be performative and say I carry a bunch of things that I don't. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your opinions about fountain pens, knives, notebooks, pencils. That's kind of what I'm into, obviously, because it's what I carry every day. Thank you for watching. This is Ethan from XVD Bibles.
EDC.